Well, hello, hello. So, what am I going to be talking about today? I decided on the topic of what's your story? We each have a story. I remember being in Tampa, Florida, and I had a minister there that we visited his church. We were members of his church. Matter of fact, I used to work in the office as a secretary, and he used to say that everybody has a story, and that we each have at least one or two books in us. So, my name is Nubia, and I am the podcast owner of Nubian Queen Nation podcast. And you can be found on YouTube as Nubian Queen Nation on YouTube. So, how has your new beginnings? This is January. This is actually the last Saturday in January. And normally I can talk really fast, but I'm purposely slowing things down. Like, what is the rush? You sit and you write down topics like, what should I talk about? A lot of times I want to come on and I want to talk about maybe current events, um, different topics. And I'm like, oh, that's too controversial. Maybe I shouldn't go there. And then before you know it, 1 week has gone by, 2 weeks have gone by, a month has gone by, and you still haven't gotten your courage back up again to jump back in there. Um, so here I am. And it's the last week, like I said, in January, and I'm just jumping in. And I want to know, what is your story? So, my story, this podcast started, I want to say, it's been 2 years now, 3 years. And I just wanted to have a voice. A lot of times you hear different podcasts, and it's like, oh, wow, that was a wonderful topic. Oh, I could have said this, and I could have said that. And you just want to be invited to the table. So I decided instead of waiting to be invited to the table, I would just create my own, talk about whatever I wanted to. And I know that I've been trying to get together I have two sisters, get together with my sisters, do a podcast. I have some friends that actually I knew back in Tampa, and they're now in Arizona. Just find a subject, just jump in and just do it. And here I am, just doing it. So my goodness, so far I've already listened to a bunch of different motivational speakers, but because it is the beginning of the year, everybody who's a motivational speaker, like a Tony Evans, Tony Robbins, or different people like that, they're all jumping in and, starting the whole new year off, and it makes you start to think. So I'm like, what is my story? And again, just to get the word out there, just to speak positive. And I saw something that says, this is not about change, or it's not all about change, but it's about transformation. And so, did you pick a word for this year? I'm not going to ask you what are your goals for this year. Get to the gym, start working out, because we're all past all that. Because by the time February, March hits, the gyms are empty, right? So I don't make goals like that anymore. But I do want to see a transformation in myself. So I'm in this class called Emotional Intelligence, EI. So everything nowadays is about EI, it's about AI. But I have really learned a lot of different things about this EI class. Let's see if I can get this book out of this pile without everything falling over. So the book, if you're watching me on YouTube, you can see that I'm holding the book up. But if you're listening to the podcast, the book is called EI, Emotional Intelligence. It says A Life Coach Guide, and it's by Susan M. Howard. And so my husband and I both have actually been in this class. It started on the 2nd of January. She usually has a class every year that starts off. It's a soul detox, is the whole holding up air quotes. And then she has a specific topic. And so this year it's emotional intelligence. So it's from the 2nd of January until the 31st of January. So we still have a few more days to count down, looking at my calendar here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about at least 5 more days of this class. And it's funny because at first I was like, what can I get out of this class? But it has been an eye-opener. So the one thing I wrote down was self-awareness. So if you think that you didn't need anything from this class, then that means you need to tap more into your self-awareness. Um, and although she is the leader of a church in the Connecticut area, um, she doesn't. There's not a lot of scripture in here and all like that, but everything is based on biblical principles. I'm sure because that's just how she rolls. So it's been very, very good, very enlightening. I kind of get the the link for the show because she's been every night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you still want to jump in, you really could, because again, there's 5 more classes left by the time I post this. Um, and she does a wonderful job. Mindset. And there's so many things in the book that I've underlined. But again, I was thinking, do I really need this class? But I'm glad that I sat in, and you can still watch the video and catch up and get her book on Amazon. But again, today's topic, what is your story? Um, Another thing that I saw is like you are the editor of your life, and you are allowed to write your own story. So if you don't like the way that your life is going, rewrite it. Write it, practice it, become it. And then practice it until you do become it. So it's not about faking it till you make it. It's just keep practicing and practicing. Another term that I heard was um, success is built on the mountain of failures. So a lot of us we try and hide what our failures are, but you can fail yourself forward, or fail yourself to success. I mean, if you've never had any failures, how are you going to learn? I say that my son just took his driver's license and um, he's 17, and it took a lot of practice. He did pass his test. He got his test. He got his license on Friday, and he's been driving wonderfully even before he had the test, the actual license paper in his hand, because now they send you the paper and then they send you the actual license through the mail. So he's been doing a great job with that. Matter of fact, I'm happy. Take my car, go to work. That means I don't have to actually leave the house. I'm kind of a um, what's the word? I don't want to say couch potato, but it's also winter here right now in New England, and if I don't have to leave the house, I'm not going to. So, anyway, I wanna know what your word is. So if you're listening to me here, you can go to Nubian Queen 2020 on Instagram, and you can leave me a post, or you can leave me a DM and say what your word is. So my word for the year is audacious. Audacious. So I have the audacity to keep this podcast running. I have the audacity to have my own YouTube page, and I do feel audacious. I was going to go for victorious. And in the past, I've had words like intentional, but every day I try and live intentionally, eat intentionally. I'd like to say exercise intentionally, but that's a part of my journey for this year. So follow along, because by the time we hit mid-year, we all have to hit a big number, right? So this year I'm hitting another big number. And actually, if I'm alive and we are all living, you're hitting a big number, right? We're just happy and thankful to be alive. So again, what is your story? I and then what is your I am? Besides the fact that I'm a wife, I am a mother, I am a daughter, I am a sister, all these type of things. But I'm choosing this year to be audacious. I noticed that you know, upgrading your environment. I'm just reading from my notes here. It says, you'll upgrade your mind and vice versa when you upgrade your environment. If you want to move forward in life, change your environment. That might mean taking a weekend trip to go somewhere. That might mean, changing friends. It might mean changing your whatever you have to do to change your environment, because you are a product of your environment. You know, even preparing for this, you have to set up the camera, you have to set up the thing, pick the picture that you want to be for the center of your podcast. So you have to there's so many things that go into it. And majority of times, like, do I even want to bother? You know? But it's all worth it. It's all worth it. This is gonna be a good year. Every day is a good day, and I figure every year is a good year. This is just gonna be even better. So, I didn't wanna stay on here very long, but I did want you to come here and think, "What is my word of the year?" WOTY, word of the year. That's funny. Thank you. Thank you. 10 minutes has gone by so far. Um, I think another thing that I did wanna talk about besides changing your environment and knowing what your story is, change your state of mind. If you change your state of mind, you can get a better story. So, are you about growing, becoming a new you this year? Because we get to start over again. Every day is a new beginning. So I'm just asking that you stick with me. Check me out on YouTube. Check out this podcast wherever podcasts are, and check me out over on Instagram, Nubian Queen Nation 2020, Nubian Queen 2020, and also on TikTok. I think over there I am Nubian Queen TV, I believe. So if you've always wanted to start a YouTube page, just do it. If you want to start a podcast, just do it. TikTok, Instagram, all those things. I do have other people ask me like, why are you so involved with social media? When I was in the military, because I was in the military some years ago, I was a communication specialist, and I just like all things that have to do with communication, and it's fun. You can sit in the room, you can talk to your talk to yourself, um, but I think it's all about creating who you'd like to be, and like again, not faking it, but just creating who you are, growing as a person. So if you'd like to follow this journey with me, hit the button wherever it is, subscribe to my YouTube page, listen to my podcasts. And if you've made it this far, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for following me on this journey. I will be talking about all things that have to do with self growth, self image, emotional intelligence, being a mom, being a wife, being married. This year will be 37 years for us, and raising four beautiful, wonderful children. Three of them are out of the house already, and I still have my son that's here in the house with me. Okay, and then if you see the flags over here, that's a Jamaican flag. My husband's Jamaican. My one daughter is stationed well, not stationed, she's living in South Korea, and she's teaching English. And then this is where we are. All right, I should have a Tanzanian flag right here because we did go to Tanzania in October. But that's all that I have for now for you. Again, thank you for being here. All right, hopefully we have a wonderful year together and growing together. Peace and blessings for now, and I so appreciate you. Bye for now. Ta-ta. And thanks for joining me over